Welcome everyone to the 39th installation of the International Dance Day. Today, April the 29th, and today we are bringing our dance moves, of which I have none, in Torghast. This was the part I didn't go into too much detail yesterday when I reported the interview that Ion Azikostas had with Preach, because this was a little bit more of a lengthy subject to go over, which is what we're going to be doing today. The Torghast 2.0 that is going to come out in 9.1. At first, we had hopes. We were young and naive, and we thought that we could have gotten a fun-only version of Torghast. You go in there if you enjoy it, maybe if you're hunting for some pets, some toys, some mounts, which are going to come in 9.1 as well, but you don't really need to do this every week. It's not going to be some sort of mandatory stuff for your character power-ups, because there was the data mining of the Vestige of Origins. The Vestige of Origins is this pattern available to all the crafting professions, from leatherworking to blacksmithing, tailoring, and then jewel crafting as well, which required a material, currently just renamed to Corthium, still work in progress. This is the stuff you get from daily quests in Cortia and whatnot. Once you gather the materials, you craft the Vestige of Origins and you can upgrade your legendary. So the idea was like, oh, okay, we're not going to need Soul Ash anymore. We're not going to need to get into Torghast. We're going to upgrade our legendary with this new crafting pattern. Well, at first we have gotten some ominous change in the PTR, where the initially memed on Mega Soul Ash, which was data mined and had no use, was renamed to Soul Cinders. We still didn't know what Soul Cinders was for, although some people started making some connections until yesterday. Preach, in his interview, asked Ion about it, asked about what's up with Soul Cinders, and the answer was very clear. The answer is you're going to be crafting your legendary with Soul Cinders. The layers of Torghast are going to be expanded, not just stopping at 8 layers anymore, but going all the way up to 12. So you're going to have to do the 9, 10, 11, and 12 layers when 9.1 comes in, except that now in the 4 highest layers you are getting this Soul Cinders material, which you will need to craft your legendary. So now you're going to be needing the Vestige of Origins and the Corthium material to craft the white base item to craft the legendary into. You need a pair of pants, you will need to get your Corthium and your Vestige of Origins recipe to get the base item at 250 item level and then 260 item level. But then to actually upgrade it from the Rune Carver, you will need Soul Cinders. So now Torghast suddenly gains a lot more importance in 9.1. It's no longer a supposed side activity just for fun or for doing something different once in a while. It's actually something you will have to go and do every week again, or continuing to do, because that's what we have been doing since the release of Shadowlands to get our Soul Ash. What has changed into Torghast? Now, we have gotten this type of announcement and this type of explanations before related to Torghast. The developers didn't think like Torghast was engaging enough. There was this fail or success, nothing in between. There was no other merit, no other thing to track within the actual run. It was just get to the end, kill the end boss, get your Soul Ash and leave. That was generally how it worked and still works. So they wanted to make it a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more things to keep track of, some more things to reward you with. We already data mined in 9.1. There is at least 4 different mounts that are going to be available in Torghast, and there is likely going to be more. So at least from that end, the rewards are increasing. So the first thing that we have to point out is the scoring system. This is what we have reported on before. A bunch of data mine stuff related to things like score streak, multipliers, etc., which started popping up as soon as 9.1 was getting into the PTR, but wasn't available yet because Torghast had been closed for 2 weeks, basically. Now it's the first time we have access to Torghast. You saw yesterday in the video about the interview, you had the footage was of the new Torghast in 9.1. There are still a few things that are currently work in progress. They're not going to be like this in the finished version. So the bar that you're seeing here, the yellow bar, which sometimes becomes red, is the score streak bar. Essentially, by completing activities within Torghast, you're going to get score. Right now, you don't see how much score you are getting. It's not in the combat log. It's not showing up in the UI. So we don't know yet exactly. 100% by the time 9.1 will come out, you will have weak auras and add-ons telling you exactly how much anything gives you. You can destroy urns to gain score. You can be fast just straight up, be fast, go layer after layer quickly. You can get hot streaks, which means basically continue killing mobs one after the other. You can get not dying every layer. Going into the next layer without dying is going to give you more score. And then, of course, rescuing souls and killing enemies, killing elites, killing rares, etc., etc. Now, right now, this doesn't really work. We have the base infrastructure. You can see the score, and you can see when you get the buff that empowers you, except right now, at the moment of this recording, basically you don't see. It's just a tooltip telling you you're empowered, although you don't really see what's going on. And this is supposedly going to make the run more interesting, more entertaining. You might have played other games before where just trying to keep the score streak running. I don't know, maybe you're playing Diablo or one of those ARPG games where killing multiple enemies at the same time gives you a multiplier score for experience or gold or whatever, and you want to just keep going and not letting it drop. And it's, it's a little thing, but it's a little thing that could make the run more interesting, more entertaining. Basically, it could make the time go by while you do this activity, not making you bored, because you're into it. You're focused on trying to get the score streak or whatnot, and it's going to feel more enjoyable at the end. Now, when you complete a Torghast run based on the amount of stars you have gotten, which again, we don't exactly know the scoring system, how it works properly, but based on how well you have done, you're going to get Tower Knowledge, the new currency. Tower Knowledge is what you're going to have to spend to get Torghast perks. This is what in the initial Tower Complete image was listed as earning talent points. Now it's just been changed to Tower Knowledge. Getting 3 stars on a layer 8 gave 41 Tower Knowledge. Getting 4 stars on a layer 8 gives you 48 Tower Knowledge, so 7 more for an extra star. These perks are going to function very similarly to the Horrific Vision talent system, the mini talent system, and they are what you expect, right? Empowered Swiftness can make you go as far as 100% faster when you run, when you get empowered. You add, very interestingly, Freed from Torment, which can remove up to 2 additional torments you can get in the run. You have Empowered Rampage, which delays the time in which you start losing your score streak by 10 seconds. And then you have even Boss Help. You can take up to 25% less damage when fighting bosses, and do 25% more damage when you have to fight bosses. You have other interesting things like having a 15% chance to not make that counter count against you when you die, 25% less damage against elites, as well as elites having a 50% extra chance to drop an anima orb. Or, even more coolly, Meddle with Fate is going to give you up to 3 rerolls on your anima power options. If you don't like them, you can go again and try to get some different powers. That's what the talent tree in Torghast is going to offer you now. For now, this is not even in the game yet, it's just been data mined, and also a bunch of these are still sort of just being introduced. They are probably going to get changed before they actually get released in their completed state, but this is what you should expect, right, from this talent tree being introduced in Torghast. Now, the counteract, as we mentioned, the counteract of the perks making you stronger is going to be the Torments, which get sort of updated, renewed. What we had before was this sort of lazy torment system where you enter Torghast and you have a bunch of debuffs next to your character, right? For example, taking fire damage every few seconds, which becomes higher and higher the deeper you go in the layers, or having the dogs spawn to hunt you, or having the 3 enemies pop up and hunt you. Now these type of debuffs have been condensed into an actual system, which is going to be part of your UI right below your score streak, which is going to be called Torments. That is basically going to be like Affixes in Mythic Plus. That's it, right? You even have something like Raging. When non-boss enemies are brought below 30% health, they deal 50% increased damage. But that's basically just the only Mythic Plus affix you're getting. The rest is different. You have things like Twisted Magic and Twisted Strength. Twisted Magic giving you 15% more magical damage, but also 15% more magical damage to all enemies. Twisted Strength is the same thing, but physical damage. You have interesting things like Avenger, which is going to make enemies grant haste to all other enemies near them when they die. You have a lovely, I'm sure you love it, a lovely Horrific Vision callback to Thanatophobia. When you're brought below 40% max health, you're going to become horrified for 3 seconds. At least it has a 2-minute cooldown. There's also what is going to be pretty interesting, Reinforced Reflective. Elite enemies periodically gain a reflective shield while in combat, reflecting all incoming spells for 5 seconds. If you have played some ARPGs, you might have a flashback of this getting you one-shot, particularly because I'm sure you have experienced how much damage you can do to enemies when you go into Torghast, and if you don't pay attention, especially if you're pulling 10 mobs at the same time, a couple of them gain reflective and you just die because your earthquake ticked for 50k on a couple of them and you just kill yourself, and that's gonna be an interesting one. Anyways, these are the affixes basically that are going to be applied to Torghast. They're going to cycle every week. As mentioned, the Torments are going to increase based on the layer you are in. So in the first 3 layers, you know, the first layers 1, 2, and 3 are sort of the trial runs. They are the tutorial runs for Torghast, so there's going to be no Torments. Layer 4 and 5 get you to 1 Torment. Layer 6 and 7 get you to 2. 8 is 3 Torments. Layer 9, the first new layer being added in 9.1, is going to have 4 Torments. Layer 10 and 11 are going to have 5 Torments, and the last layer of 9.1, layer 12, is going to have 6 Torments. So essentially a collection of 6 of these Torments out of the, 15, 16 that have been data mined so far, is what you're going to have to deal with. Now, aside from these Torments available increasingly in number each layer, there is also going to be this new system to allow you to enter the next layer, which is the scoreboard, the final score you get at the end of the run. This is also work in progress. Right now, this only pops up at the end of the run. So you finish the run, you're going to get this score. Again, because you have no idea exactly how much score is it that you're getting, you know, what should you do to get the score, rather than literally clear everything very fast. We can't exactly tell how hard this is going to be. And currently, the work in progress system they have added is that you need to get at least 4 stars, 4 of these gems, to be able to enter the next layer. So essentially, if you just scuff your way through layer number 9 with just 2 gems, because you died the maximum amount of times, you had to pull 1 pack by 1 pack, you skipped all of the treasures and mini games because you can't even open a fucking chest, you're not gonna be able to enter layer 10. Blizzard is essentially telling you, my man, you suck dick. Go back and do layer 9 again, properly this time. That's what this score is doing. Obviously, at the high end, this is going to be used by, you know, speedrunners, min-maxers to try to get the highest possible scores. For the normal population, the only thing they will care is to get enough score so that they can enter the next layer. In just a couple of weeks, whenever layer 12, the maximum layer, will be unlocked, this is not going to matter anymore. Once you unlock layer 12, you will just be able to do your layer 12 weekly run twice. You won't really care about getting higher, because layer 12 is already the highest you can go in 9.1. Now, what you can notice from the screen about the run being completed is also the thing at the bottom, which is talent points earned. This is another thing which is not available in the game right now. This is another thing that was announced by Ion during the interview with Preach, which is the new talent system for Torghast, similar to what we had in Horrific Visions. This meta talent tree just specific for this minigame, this side activity, which is going to supposedly help you traverse Torghast. Now, the other special thing currently going on in the PTR, again, this is probably going to be repeated, but it's work in progress for sure, is that the boss is currently sitting on floor number 5, which is weird, right? Right now, currently on the PTR, even though there is no specific wing available and it's just the upper reaches which are open, regardless of the layer that you can go, 1 through 8, because layer 9, 10, 11, and 12 are closed, initially they seem normal. You get through floor number 1 and 2, at floor 3 you get the vendor, at floor 4 it's more mobs, and then, surprisingly, at floor 5 is when you get the vendor plus the boss. What is also more surprising is that after this floor 5, you get a 6th floor, followed by a 7th floor with another boss. Now, this boss gives you nothing for now. It has no rewards whatsoever, so it's a little bit weird. So right now, we really have no answer to this, not even in the interview. This was pointed out. Could this be just a bonus floor for your rating, for your scoring points and achievements and ladder and whatnot Blizzard plans implementing? Is this supposed to be a divide between, if you just want Soul Cinders, so the new currency, you can just stop at floor 5, but if you want the Soul Ash as well, for your older legendary crafting, you can go up to floor 7 and defeat the extra boss. As of right now, we have no idea. We don't know exactly what this is for. If this were to go live, of course, it would just shorten your run, because you can get your Soul Ash after just 5 floors instead of 6. So just slightly shorter. Why not? I guess technically it's going to be a little bit harder for under-geared character, because it means they have less floors to farm OP passives they can get from the mobs, from the elites and the rares and the events. So I guess that's possibly a downside to shortening Torghast. Honestly, at the end of this recap of the new Torghast, it does seem fine. It seems better than what we had before. And one might say, yeah, well, before it was fucking shit. Yeah, okay, Mr. Negative, sure. However, I do think it can have some pretty cool interactions if they go that route. Of course, right now there is a lot of work in progress. You know, plenty of things are just not there. You have the basic UI that shows you some things are changing, but not really. You know, the score system doesn't really work. You don't know how it works, how many points you're getting, what is even this star scoring system, etc., etc. So eventually it's going to get more and more fleshed out as we go deeper into the PTR. I do think it has pretty good possibilities of making it more entertaining than what you have now in Torghast. I still don't think Torghast is that annoying. I'm always very confused when I read the comments of Torghast related things, because people act like they have to be subjected to 10 weekly runs of island expeditions, and I just don't see that boredomness inside Torghast. I think it's a fine side activity compared to Warfronts, compared to island expeditions, even compared to the withered scenario from Legion. Not to mention that at the end of the day, it is still a weekly event. It is still something you just need to do twice. And you will need to do twice in 9.1 as well, for 2 different wings. So it's not that I had any problems with it before, but this one, if there were some people a little bit disappointed with Torghast, not really feeling it too much, I think this is a good system. Don't ask me about it. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I can't delve into the minds of people and understand and explain to you why is it that a scoring system can hook people up much more than just playing gameplay. That is just what happens sometimes. People just get into something because it has a score system. It has points, multipliers, combos, combo breakers and whatnot. So if they manage to make it work properly, I think much more people are going to get into it. Just because of this new system, honestly. The entire gameplay of Torghast could remain the same, but the coat of paint given by this score system could just make it much more appealing to many players. Not to me, though. I still don't give a shit. I will still just enter this place twice a week to get my Soul Ash or Soul Cinders, whatever the shit, and then leave. That is still something you should be perfectly fine and proud doing. This is where we can stop this update on Torghast. We will continue updating the changes coming in the PTR for this system because it is clearly unfinished. So a bunch more stuff is going to get added eventually, so we will cover it whenever it's out. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to support the endeavor of growing this channel, then you should subscribe. Or alternatively, if you don't want to subscribe, you might want to stop posting comments on Wowhead, because that really hurts my IQ whenever I do. So please cease this degeneracy. I will count that as a subscription. Thank you very much. See you guys soon. And in the meantime, no, I mean really though, what is wrong with some people? It's just never happy. Never.